One of the games that I think most people are very interested in watching this week is Cincinnati Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens. Right now, you have the Ravens as 6 or 6.5 point favorites. 47 is the total in this one. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase continue to look really, really sharp on the offensive side of the ball. The Ravens really getting it done on the offensive side of the ball, despite the fact that they aren't running as much as they used to, and certainly not running as efficiently as they used to. But Lamar Jackson getting it done with his arm so far. Brad, I know you have a play on this game, so I'll start with you. We do have the surging Cincinnati Bengals on the road heading to Baltimore as 6.5 point dogs.
Yeah, I'm still of the belief that the Bengals are a bit of a fraud, a product of their schedule more than anything else. They've had one of the easiest schedules in the league, and I think that's pumping up their defense particularly. Like you look at the numbers, fifth in defensive DVOA, fifth in PFF defense, and they've got some good pieces, but I just don't think they've really faced anyone to properly take it to them yet. And Lamar in his current form is in some ways unstoppable, right? Because at the minute defenses are playing him to force him to pass, he's now proved that he can do that. So the Chargers come out last week and say, well, we like to stop the pass, make you run. And so they just run all day on you. So I think I don't really see the Bengals slowing them down too much. And then, another key part of this is a coaching mismatch, right? These guys have played 4 times since Zach Taylor got to town, and the Ravens have won by 25 points on average. They're obviously better this year, but I still think there's some fundamental problems. Like the defense is
How
not
dare you
top
bring
10.
up pre-Burrow statistics on this show? You bringing up pre-Burrow statistics on this program, I will not stand for it around here, Brad Allen. There'll be no pre-Burrow statistics on this podcast, my friend.
Here's what I think on offense is that they've not faced a proper defense either. They've had one of the easiest schedules on offense as well. They've not faced a scary pass rush, right? Like they've had the Lions, the Packers, who else they played? The Jags, maybe. They played a bunch of jokers, and the Lions look better, but they've not played anyone like this Baltimore defense, which is showing blitz from everywhere, sending random people rushing, and who have the defensive backs to match up somewhat to the Bengals, or as well as anyone can. So I think you've got one legitimate kind of Super Bowl team and one 8-8, 9-8 team, so I think the Ravens probably get this done.
Steven, if we take a look here, I guess the Pittsburgh Steelers would argue that the Bengals haven't played a defense so far this year. I think the Bears have a pretty decent defense as well. So I think that they have been tested a little bit more maybe than we give them credit for in this thing. But Baltimore with Lamar Jackson, yeah.
Sorry, I would say against the Bears, they got beat by 10 points. And then against the Steelers, that was the game where JJ Watt went out. I think Devin Bush went out that game. They were missing, like the line opened 6 and the injuries were so bad that it was down to 2.5. And I think that was all injury related. So, I would argue they didn't really face the Steelers defense that day.
Yeah, 2017 against the Bears, a 3-point loss. Steven, we do look here as far as Lamar Jackson. I mean, his progression as a passer, I mean, it's undeniable. I mean, the guy is staying in the pocket. He is now. If you give him running lanes, he is taking them. But what he is not doing is at the very first sign of something bad going on, if his first read is covered, he's not looking to then just immediately pull the ball down and take off. He's staying in the pocket a little bit longer. He's delivering really good pocket passes right now, specifically deep balls as well, where he has struggled so much with accuracy. I don't think anybody can take anything away from what Lamar Jackson has done so far. I guess the real question here is do you believe this Bengals team is a mirage? Because that's really what it comes down to here. This is more of a do you believe or do you not believe game? Do you believe in the offense that's been able to look pretty good so far? Do you believe in the defense that has looked much improved so far? Or do you think that this is the point where they get absolutely exposed by this Ravens squad?
Let me put it this way. I'm honestly not taking a ton away from that Ravens blowout against the Chargers last week. I think the Chargers basically handed them that game. I mean, the Ravens had less than 5 yards per play on offense. They had a couple of turnovers. So that game was handed to them. And they needed a miracle comeback to beat the Colts the week before. So statistically, yeah, I do believe in Lamar Jackson. I can't knock him. And it's strange to see the Ravens doing it in a way that is completely different than what we've seen in the past couple of years. And do we think this is sustainable? Because, the numbers are fantastic. They are number 1 in the league in early down success rate, number 3 in early down EPA, pass block win rate, top 5. So they've become a more balanced offense. They're number 2 in explosive plays. The question, again, to go back to what you posed, is Cincinnati for real or not? And I think the answer likely is somewhere in the middle, right? I mean, I don't think they're complete frauds, but I'm not ready to crown them as one of the top 10 teams in the league. So that brings us back to the question of, is the line appropriate? And we've been sitting at 6.5 here for almost 10 days now. The look ahead was 6.5. The line has sat there. It has not moved. The market agrees with the numbers. So I'm not going to be the one to say that the line is wrong. I think it's a fair line. I think it's where it's supposed to be. So this, it was hard for me to have a strong stance on either side here. So I have to pass. I have to pass on that number.
One thing I do want to bring up about this game, by the way, if y'all didn't get it from Brad, he is on the Ravens here as 6-point favorites. Again, this thing has toggled back and forth a little bit between 6 and 6.5. So I think you can hold out and find a 6 at some point here along the way. One thing I do want to bring up here, guys, and just talk about with this game is, listen, so you've got Lamar Jackson, one of the MVP favorites out there. We mentioned him at 25-1, all the way down to kind of that 12-ish to 1. So it's half of what you were getting. That said, if he goes out and destroys a Bengals team that has looked pretty good, I think that people do have at least a little bit of respect for, that 12-1 is going to be gone forever. I also, on the flip side here, Joe Burrow's 100-1 right now to win the MVP. If they were to go out and they were to destroy or even just wins handily against this Ravens team on the road, that 100-1 is gone forever. And the only reason I even bring this up is I want you guys to look and think about some of these guys that are listed with shorter odds than Joe Burrow for MVP right now, and realize why I think that at least maybe putting just a small little sliver in your pocket at 100-1. But you've got Teddy Bridgewater is shorter odds. Kirk Cousins is shorter odds. Derek Carr is shorter odds. Not to mention a whole bunch of running backs and wide receivers with shorter odds, listed right now with the same odds as him: Alvin Kamara, Deebo Samuel, DeAndre Hopkins, Michael Thomas, who hadn't played a game yet for the New Orleans Saints, is listed at the same odds as Joe Burrow is for MVP this year. He is only a couple of touchdowns behind the league leaders. He is only a couple hundred yards behind the league leaders as well. And I think a big statement win this week on the road could really change the perception and really, really shake up that market a lot. So just something to think about if you wanted to put a long shot, that there's an actual path to it getting there. Because if he brings this, if he takes this Bengals team to the playoffs, or even better, they actually contend for the division or something like that, this is going to be it might be his award. It might be him and Tom Brady heads up for the award.
Here's what I would say, though, Matt. I would treat it like a stock in this case. And if I'm going to lock in that bet, I would do it at an online sports book where they're pretty liberal with your cash out options on things like this. So that even if he's not going to win it, which is obviously the most likely scenario, then his odds shorten enough in the next couple of months here where you might actually get a decent cash out option on him. So that, that's the world we live in now, right? Sportsbooks are allowing that. And obviously the price is wrong on him. I'm not sure he has a great path to winning it. I think I disagree with you on that, but you could totally treat it like a stock and potentially cash out here, because we are absolutely agreed that price is ludicrous.
Well, yeah, more than anything is just playing a number here, right, Brad? That's all I'm saying is like if this game goes against the Ravens and if the Bengals win, then you're never going to see 100-1 again on him at all. Actually, the odds probably cut in half at that point. So it's basically just kind of locking up a number that's probably a little bit off market when you consider the guys that are shorter than him right now. And again, it could be a 1 week bet because if they get blown out, then the bet's absolutely worth nothing. But just trying to get ahead of something that could happen if they do pull the upset.